Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Oh, there it goes. Do a drink with crazy. What's going on, everybody? Oh boy. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. I have things tonight. More serious things, I guess. And one thing that I thought about, I was thinking about is, I used to pray a lot more on this channel in the shows that I would do. In fact, there's a lot of people that told me that it's like, man, like I tuned into your show and like you're saying prayers and man, I got away from that. This all coincides with, I'm praying more with my children now recently. The battle to being Christian or Catholic or anybody who follows Christ is the battle of constantly doing it, right? And, I've got to make a resolution in my life to constantly do that. I told you guys a long time ago that, God called me to gather together a community, and I don't think that community was just to talk about pop culture and stuff. But if you guys will tonight, let's start off with the Our Father, and then we'll get into a lot more serious conversations. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I want to talk about something that I think is really important. And I think a lot of people will know that over the last year, I think people, especially on my Discord and my mom and a lot of people that I talk with will see me criticizing my own side a lot more than criticizing the other side, right? And I will say this. It's not because I've changed my beliefs in any way. In fact, my beliefs have been strengthened. In fact, and it's caused me to be more angry lately, which anger is something that you need to temper in your heart, right? You must only be angry at evil things, right? Don't let the sun set on your anger. And I think that today I sparked off a conversation in my Discord early in the morning. Should not have done that. But this is a drink with crazy. And this is what I started it off with. So Eric July shared this over on, and I just took the screenshot here, shared this over on YouTube. And he says, as ridiculous as the mortgage situation is, which, yes, calling FDR a great president is a crime. And yeah, a little bit of hyperbole in there is a crime. Obviously, you can say whoever's great. But this is one of the things that I talk about with a lot of people. And it's one of the things that I go back and forth on. Now, I know a lot of people, when I start to criticize the things that I don't like about President Trump, his administration, and how he's going about certain things, I always get but what about the Democrats? So here's my answer to that. I don't vote for Democrats. I have never voted for Democrats. I know what they stand for. I know that they want socialism. I know that they want communism. I know that they want a whole lot of stuff that's going to make the world just not a good place. I don't vote for them, and I know their craziness, right? I do vote for Republicans and libertarians when I'm told that they're going to do good things, when I'm told that they're going to do these things that may align with my values. And so my entire focus and directive is to go, okay, the people that I already know I don't like, and I already know their policies are garbage, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how bad they are. What I am going to do is I'm going to laser focus on the people I did vote for because I put my name on a ballot and I selected your name for a certain political office, which means I feel in my heart that I have a duty to constantly make sure that the people that I voted for are doing the things that uphold my values. I don't just vote for you, then wash my hands of it and say, oh, goody joy, howdy, blah, blah, blah. Everything is better now because my guy is in. No, I've never believed that. And this comes from a moment in my life when my dad put his name on the line for me, got me a job in the utility world, in the natural gas industry, where I spent a decade of my life. And my dad told me flat out, he goes, you're not going to ride my coattails. Maybe in the beginning for a little bit. He goes, but I put my name on the line for you. And that means something. And you're not going to make my name look bad. Because my name is worth a lot in this industry. My dad was right. I talked with people about it. I talked with guys. I became an inspector over. And I was like, hey, guys, I got to ask this question. You guys know my dad. They're like, yeah, we know your dad. I'm like, all right. My dad likes to tell some tall tales once in a while, makes things bigger than it actually is. So I've asked guys, hey, be honest with me. I get it. My dad can be an a-hole. I get it. Be honest with me, guys. Is my dad really that good? Is he? And I know, I heard from a guy one day, he goes, dude, your dad is a god in this industry. And I was like, what? And he goes, no. And he full on stops me. And he goes, no, you have no idea how many fires that man has put out for me personally. And I talk with and I've asked this question and I was like, wow. That's the name that put me in the place to start my career. So I take the name very importantly, right? If I'm putting my name on a ballot for someone, I want to make sure that they don't tarnish my name. So for instance, when I say there's a lot of things Trump is doing I don't like. There's language he's using I don't like. There's stuff he's doing I don't like. Okay, I am not talking about the deportation of a bunch of illegal immigrants. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Okay, that's ridiculous. I'm not talking about how he's trying to. Well, actually, right now in his second administration, that's the one thing I can think of. I do like the energy independence thing he tried to do. I do like that, gas prices were lower, prices were better in his first administration and stuff like that. But there are other things that underlie all of that and things that I was in my formative years when Obama took office. And I was told there were a lot of things that Obama was doing that weren't correct, right? The Caffeinated Wolf says the other side doesn't care about being held accountable, but we should be holding our own side accountable. I agree. But not to the standards that the other side wants us to do. And I need to make that very clear here. Very clear. Okay, it's key to hold your own side accountable, keep your friends close, and all that. And so, but I'm very critical. And I get arguments with my mom a lot of times because my mom is like, she comes across to me, which is so weird because I always tell people, my mom taught me how to work with my mind. My dad taught me how to work with my hands. I am just as good at both. Right. And it was wonderful to have that dichotomy and parents who could teach that to me, critical thinking and all that. But I will oftentimes see things and share things and show things and be like, hey, and I go and I spend, a little bit of time to just, hey, is this stuff? And I don't Google, I use Brave Search and I go and I find, sources that I either agree with or don't agree with. And I do my best to look at both sides and I come to conclusions myself. And one of the things that I want to get into is why I am so much more critical about Trump than I am anybody else. And that's because I put my name on a ballot and I selected him 3 different times. I put my name down for him 3 different times. Okay. And so I think the 3rd time against my better judgment. Some of the things, and I'm not going to be able to remember everything. I used to keep a categorized list in my head, and just over the years, we know how memory degradation works. I will never forget in one of the first presidential debates it was like 2015, that, Trump talked about, how he was going to go in and he was going to correct the budgets and all that. And he goes, yeah, we're going to get the deficit down. We're going to reduce the debt ceiling and lower taxes. And then we're going to cut spending. And his poll numbers went down. He never said cut spending again after that. Not once. Not once did he, and has not championed cutting spending at the federal level since then. He's tried to do it with Doge, the fact which I think was actually a net good. The fact of the matter is, though, Congress is the ones that apportions the money. So unless he can somehow be like, hey, I found like legitimately, and this was the antagonistic nature of Trump, and I think it would work to his benefit here. He needs to look and be like, I got Doge in effect. I got Doge in effect. We found a bunch of money, and Congress still apportioned the money this year for it. They betrayed you. I tried to save you, but he's not doing it, right? He needs to draw the ire of the American, and he's not doing it. And Trump has been abysmal on spending. Yes, he has been. Caffeinated wolf. So then we get through a lot of so then as Trump starts to become president, I remember him saying that he, in one of his posts years ago, and I think this was on Twitter before he got nuked and all that, and he might have made a press conference about this, but he talked about, he called a bunch of business leaders who were kind of against him and so on and so forth. And basically without, getting to, he's like, hey, you're going to play ball in this economy or else, we'll figure out ways. And I was like, man, I don't like that. It was shortly after that Harley Davidson moved their headquarters out of the U.S. because I don't like presidents calling companies and saying, you're going to play ball this way. Or we're going to have selective rules for you. That's not how America should work. Then at one point during his first presidency, he champions this bill that his daughter came up with, where they were going to force businesses to provide maternity and paternity leave. And I'm like, wait a minute. Businesses can't do it. And thankfully that did not get passed. And I appreciate that. But the fact that he championed that, and I'm like, what? No, I was told when Obama did that, that's a bad thing. And so I really don't like that he's doing that. That makes, I really don't like that. And at the time I was like, man, if the economy, and he had the economy rolling, but the debt was still climbing. The debt was radically climbing still. Like a lot, to the point where Trump was signing off on things where they were outspending the Obama years. I was told it was bad to spend as much money as Obama did, and now I see Trump kind of championing some of this stuff, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. If it's bad when Obama does it, is it not bad when Trump does it? Then we get all the way up to where the COVID thing happens, and he does two things back to back that absolutely scares the crap out of me. Even Grok calls Doge a failure. Well, Doge is a failure because the fact of the matter is the politicians are not going to reduce the money, right? They're going to continue to devalue our currency. It's insane. At the same time, you complain about shocks being worn out, but if there are no new shocks, you're just complaining about something that's not going to change. I mean, it kind of, yeah. But again, these are things that in my formative years I was taught. These are bad things. These are socialist things. These are things that are born of a different. So COVID comes around, and everybody had this mass hysteria around it. And I was paying attention to the news, and I remember telling my wife at the time, I was like, hey, babe, you need to go to the store, and you need to buy a lot of food. And she's like, what? And we were doing okay at the time. And I was like, you need to buy. And so she goes to the store and she buys a bunch of food and to keep us stocked up. And I'm like, it's not enough. I was like, whatever you just purchased, it's not enough. Okay. And she's looking at me like, what are you talking about? She's like, I just spent half of our grocery budget. I was like, it's not enough. Albany, listen to me. You need to go out and you need to buy more. Because I wasn't, and I told her, I was like, look, this virus thing, it's not gonna kill us. It's not gonna cause the end of the world. Like that's a bunch of bullshit that I knew right away. I was like, but what is going to hurt is the fact that once it hits, because it was already happened in Australia. It already was happening in several other countries where this was popping up and people were clearing out the store shelves. And I told her, I was like, okay, go. You need to buy more. I think we spent 2 months of our normal grocery budget. And she was like, and my wife was kind of mad initially. Once it hit here within a week, she went to go to the store to just grab a couple of it was all gone. And she called me and she was like, holy crap. So once that happens, Trump gets on board with the idea that we need to shut the economy down selectively, though. And even he was championing the idea that we needed to have essential workers. So that, and I'm like, wait, hold on, wait a minute here. Whoa. But the money that comes into a household that gets spent on children and food and rent and mortgages, all that money is essential, and that comes from the work that people do. And even Trump championed that for a time. And then champions stimulus packages. Massive stimulus packages through COVID. Having the Fed artificially create money. And if you look at it, it didn't just go to the American people, it went to a bunch of corporations. You can go and see where all that money was spent. It's publicly available. I have read it before. It will infuriate you. And all that did was inflate the currency and devalue our dollar. And then he turns around and Caffeinated Wolf beat me to it and does Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed basically allowing pharmaceutical companies to take something that had not been appropriately tested and gone through the testing and research that it needed to and release it into the public. And guess what? You can't even sue those companies if you have any sort of health effects from it. We don't even know if the damn thing worked. They'll say that it did. The weird thing is, though, is during that time period, you look at the data, flu rates dropped and COVID was up here and then the flu disappeared. I mean, I tell people this all the time. Turns out the only thing that we needed to beat the Spanish flu after 100 years was COVID. It was wild to me to see this. And then obviously the 2020 election happens and that, yeah. They wrote about it in the New York Times, by the way. That's where fortification of the election comes from. They wrote about what they did, things that they were doing, prepping for years in advance, manipulating the system, ready to do what they did for the 2020 election, which is what it is. So now he comes back into office. He's in for a little bit. And I keep seeing this spending going on. He's championing the big, beautiful bill. I think we need to have single page, plain language bills with the expressed intent, because there's obviously language of the law and spirit of the law. And with the expressed spirit of the law intended, written right there, plain language, everybody can read. He passes this big, beautiful bill thing. And if he's everybody got a little bit of what they wanted. You know, we worked with the Republicans. It's so good. You know, okay, well, I don't vote for Democrats. Why are you reaching across the aisle? Just to get something passed? I would rather them not pass a single thing than work with the people who want us dead. And I don't like that he does this. And then there's evidence to show that he's pardoning somebody in the crypto business. And I looked into this as well. And I even shared this in my Discord today. And it's been covered. And I went and looked up the evidence. I went and looked it all up. It seems like I spent a day and a half of my time pulling this stuff up. And I was like checking everything in the videos that I shared in the Discord. And I was told in the Discord today that this guy seems like a lefty loon, as if I didn't spend the time to do it. Even when I'm telling people in my community that I've gathered around me, guys, I've looked into this and I can say that this is pretty freaking accurate. And it looks like there's insider trading going on. It looks like they're using the power of the presidential pardon to enrich themselves. I don't like that. Then all of a sudden, where are the Epstein files? And he plays, are people still talking about this guy? When Trump said, "Are people still talking about this guy?" and blew it off, you will never convince me that a man who just brushes away the criminal actions and the release of files to show to the American public people who took advantage of children and just blew it off. And then it was a Democrat hoax. And then it just didn't exist. And then all of this stuff. And now I'm questioning. Did I vote for a kitty diddler? 3 times? It's why I'm so passionate about this. That man asked me to trust him in the presidential office. And maybe I was naive enough to do it. Now he's talking about more stimulus, right? Oh, you're going to get money from all the tariffs, which, by the way, if you actually go and I've seen business owners who are affected by this, and I've seen what they're going through, and they've shared their stuff. And they're like, look, the biggest part about all this tariff crap is that it's just an unstable market. We have no idea what Trump's going to do next. He's using the negotiating tactics for a singular company where the actions of maybe who could affect a singular company are now affecting the entire U.S. economy. He's not playing with his money. He's playing with ours. That elevates it in my mind. Not to mention the fact that in his first term, he put tariffs on China. They stopped buying soybeans from us. And then what did he do? He went and signed off $12 billion to subsidize the farmers for his fuck up because he wanted to play hardball. There were ramifications for the actions, and we paid for it. That's my money. Gamble with your own, dude. I think it's awesome to read your books and see how you gambled with your own money and came out on top. But I'm seeing how you're gambling with mine, and it's not working. My dollar does not go as far as it did 4 or 5 years ago, right? And you say, but Biden is Biden. Yeah, trust me, guys, I'm there with you too. I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't put my name behind Biden. I didn't put my trust in Biden. I already knew what that was going to do. We had fucking 8 years of Obama. I already knew what Biden was going to do. I'm talking about a person and an administration that I put my trust and faith in. You know how many people believed the bullshit that Mexico was going to pay for the wall? Like, and I knew that wasn't going to happen. Oh, we're going to put Hillary Clinton in jail. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. They want to put him in jail. They tried. But the things that are the things, and this is the argument that I want to kill right here. Okay. The inflation that America, this right here, the alternative was Harris, right? The alternative that everybody should have gone for is a vote of no confidence. Can you imagine if enough people in this country, can you imagine what it would have been like if there was a vote of no confidence? Why is that not there? Start it all over again. Nope, pick different candidates. We don't like any of them. Can you imagine if a vote of no confidence were to win a presidential election? Is that even something we can do? Is that something possible? The only reason that we're in the situation that we are in is because we have allowed it. I'm sorry, Americans deserve everything that's happening to us right now. I've voted for bad people before. Fuck, dude, I voted for Romney back in the day. I was a lot younger and didn't have the knowledge that I have now. It's you vote for not Trump, you get Harris. I mean, I live in a state right now where it wouldn't have mattered because what you don't understand is that your vote goes to the electoral college and tells your state, under whatever state you live in, the rules that they're going to apportion the electoral college votes for. Had I not voted for Trump, guess what? My state was so for Trump, it wouldn't have mattered. My vote would not have changed the electoral college votes of my state. Now, if you live in a state that's purple, as we call it, that can go one way or the other, your vote might actually matter. Actually, we call those swing counties. There are particular counties in the United States that have more leverage than anything else. Because again, and my mom tried to argue this with me. She's like, no. She's like, I was like, Mom, you live in Colorado. Your vote already doesn't matter because it's not going to contribute because your electoral college votes in Colorado are already going to go to Harris. What do you mean? My mother was the one that taught me about the electoral college. My mother was the one. And I'm like, how do people not realize this? We do not live in a direct democracy. And I'm so fucking sick of hearing people treat our republic like that. We vote to tell our states who to elect. I know the makeup of my state. Had I not voted, guess what? I didn't vote for the Congress cucks that were here. They're still in. What, Grassley and Ashley Hinston. I do not like them. You know what I did instead? Because I filled out the bubble for other and I wrote in my own name. Put in the bubble for other, wrote in my own name. But guess what? They're still there. So if my vote didn't matter, how come the Democrats didn't win, right? Because I know how my state votes. The plurality does matter. But what I'm talking about tonight as I opened it is I put my trust and faith in somebody to govern essentially in the moral framework that I guess I believe in, that I was raised with. And when I see Trump offering stimulus packages, why are they offering stimulus packages right now? The tariffs haven't brought in that much money. Like, a minuscule amount of money in comparison. Do you want to see? Let's pull up the U.S. Treasury. We'll go show you. Because I pulled it up today. And the question is did I share the link with myself? Stop it! Congress.com, Treasury. There we go. Okay, let's go to U.S. Treasury. Let's have fun with this one. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, how much revenue has the U.S. government collected this year? It's a lot of money. That's a 5 with a T. 5.23 trillion in the fiscal year. All right. We're going to go down to the bubble graph. Individual income taxes, Social Security, and Medicaid. But I thought tariffs were making us more money than ever. Customs duties, excise taxes. Boy, those aren't. I mean, you could see tariffs went up a little bit right here, right? Yeah. 0.19 trillion dollars. 0.19. So 4% of the money that we have made this year has come from tariffs. 4%. And yet, what the hell just happened? And yet, supposedly, we have made so much money from tariffs. We're now going to offer a stimulus to the American public. And we just passed a $1.8 trillion deficit package. So we're still operating at a loss, a huge loss. We're still operating. We're still swiping the credit card. And by the way, we didn't pay off the last credit card. You know how I know this? Because we're like $38 trillion in debt. We haven't paid off the last fucking... I remember when Obama got into office and we were at 10 trillion. And then Obama increased it by 8 trillion. We keep in mind, when Donald Trump took office, we were $18 trillion in debt. When the 2016 election happened, we are now over double that in 9 years. Our currency has been devalued to the point. You want to talk about, this is where I'm at. Donald Trump gets up on this and does all that. We've got so much money coming in. The stock market's doing good. You know what I say? Because I saw what happened during COVID. You know what? I don't care how well Wall Street's doing when I see Main Street dying. My wife had to get a job so that way we could make ends meet. We don't even buy beef anymore because it's so fucking expensive. Because, and admittedly, this happened during the Biden administration, they decided that, a cow might be sick, so we need to murder most of the fucking cattle population in the U.S. Oh, and by the way, we're not exactly sure what caused the fires and the explosions and all the crap that happened with the processing plants. We don't buy beef. Hell, chicken was getting to a point where it was too damn expensive, and we don't raise meat chickens. We raise layers. And they're not old enough yet to start a culling. I'm watching and talking with people in my life who are Republicans who voted for Trump, struggling more and more and more because our dollar has been so fucking devalued, and he has the fucking gall to offer stimulus packages. I was told it was wrong when Obama did a lot of these things. I was raised to say this is socialism. This is what socialism tries to do. It tries to offer the advantage to people that, oh no, just believe in the government. They'll just give you money. You've heard me talk in the past about why I stopped following a lot of the YouTubers that I follow. And it's because I started catching them on things that they were saying that weren't true, simply to own the other side. And I don't like that. I put my trust, I put my faith in you. I spent intellectual time listening to you. A lot of time in some cases. Like, you guys, these YouTubers were my daily drives to work. They were my drive home. They were when I was working in my shop or mowing the lawn or whatever. These guys were in my ears, playing, listening, giving them my time that I can never get back. Because time is the only thing we have, and time is the only thing that we have no control over how much is left. And when I realized, holy crap, some of these guys are just trying to spit lines out there at me, and it may not be true, I have to think to myself, how many times? How many times? How many times did somebody say something to me, and I trusted them. And I said, well, I just don't have the time to look into it. And I get told by a lot of people lately that, well, we just don't have time to look into it. We just don't have time. We just don't. Yeah, well, when you feel like you've been lied to, and you feel like you put your name behind somebody, and when you feel like you championed people, and like when you feel that you put honest to God trust in someone, and they lied to you, you're going to fact check everything the fuck that anybody says to you. Of course you're going to do that. Of course you're going to do that. Like I said, why do I not chastise the Democrats? I don't vote for them. I don't put my name behind them because I know who they are. Why do I chastise the man that I voted for 3 times? Is because I put my name behind him. And that matters. I did not put my name behind Obama because I thought what Obama was doing was wrong. And yet I still see enough that Trump is doing. I mean, Trump just called FDR a great president. Obama did the same thing. So for everybody out there who wonders why I am so passionate about this and why you're not going to see me sit there and be like, oh, the Democrats are doing Democrat stuff again. Good God. It's because I'm wondering if we're being led like sheep to slaughter. I'm wondering if, because we have not been vigilant and diligent as a population, as a people, that all of this is happening. And I do believe that to be the case. Funny enough, a guy like Brandon Herrera, he watched what his congressman was doing and said, I don't like it. And he had he's got the money to be able to fight the fight and try to get this guy out of Congress. Because he looked at what he was doing. He was like, I'm being lied to. You're lying to your constituents. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing these things that you said you weren't going to do? And I respect Brandon Herrera for that. If I lived in Texas and I lived in his, I would probably vote for him. I mean, I'm a fan of his, but I think that that's an honorable and respectful thing to do. You know. But this is one of the reasons that I constantly tell people we need to hold our side accountable. The Epstein file thing, guys. Did we vote for a monster? Just that alone. That we're not even talking about, well, you know, Trump cheated on his wife, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, well, that's bad enough. Obviously, we didn't vote for Biden, and we don't vote for a lot of Democrats because we're like, oh, they're, you know, that we believe them to be kind of monstrous. And so this is where I'm at. This is why you will see me. I will be like, look, I see this thing. I looked into it. You know, and somebody said, oh, well, this guy, you know, that you shared, I shared CoffeeZilla. He does Vodzilla. Vodzilla is a secondary channel. The guy's like 5 million subs between 2 channels or something like that. He's a very successful person on the channel, does a lot of good work uncovering crypto scams and stuff like that. And I shared the thing that looks like Trump's doing a couple of crypto scams to scam people out of money and to use the presidential pardon system to enrich his family. And it's just like, but this just looks like a liberal pee poo poo guy, and I just, how could you? And I'm like, well, wait a minute here. It's like, well, it looks like he's obviously got left wing leanings. I'm like, okay, I obviously have fucking right wing leanings. So because I go out there and I could say, be like, look at all the crap that, the Democrats are doing. Is it because I have obvious right-wing leanings that you would not trust me? Is it because somebody might have left-wing leanings? Not even like hardcore left-wing, just a little bit. Do you not trust them if they uncover something that's real? Are you willing to sacrifice evident facts and evident truths simply because you don't want your narrative to be shattered? You don't want to admit that you potentially voted for a not good person? That's not how I was raised. That's not what we should believe. Dude, I'm so like, if you say this person obviously has a this bias or that bias, therefore we can't trust anything they say about the opposite side, it's just like, what? And so, you know what? If that's the case, if people are going to tell me this person obviously has a left-wing bias, therefore I'm not going to trust anything they say about Trump. How about this? I've got a fucking right-wing bias. I've got a hardcore right-wing bias. Are you going to trust what I say and what I see? Are you going to tell me not to believe my lying eyes? That the economy is not getting worse, that my dollar is not going further, that food is getting harder to buy, that things that my wife and I were able to purchase years ago, we fucking can't now, that my wife had to go back to work, which then sacrifices time with my family? Are you going to tell me not to believe my lying eyes, my lying life? Is that what you're going to tell me? No, you know what they'll probably do is people, if they get pissed off enough with me, they're just going to go, Royce has obviously turned left wing. That would be the next step. That would be the next thing that people would say. This is getting to a point, and I said that I was not going to get political on the channel, but this is getting to a point where I am seeing, and it's bad, and it's all over social media. There are things people will say, and I can easily disprove it. And when I say, hey, you're wrong about this. And you know what? But the Democrat, I don't care. I don't vote for the socialists. I don't vote for the Marxists. I voted for a man who said that he wasn't. I don't care about whataboutism. I already know they're bad. I'm talking about the man who asked me to put faith in him, and I did. And I feel like I got sold snake oil. And I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with my own side. I'm frustrated. Because I don't want to believe that I voted for a monster, and not because of anything that the left says, because of everything they're not talking about, because everything that supposedly fiscal conservatives are not talking about. They hand wave away some of these things. Why is it that every time that he has raised tariffs, we as the taxpayers have to subsidize it? And guess what? It didn't change in his first presidency. Well, he had all that opposition in his first presidency. He's got more now. He has more opposition now in his second presidency than in his first one. So if your excuse is, well, he had all this opposition, he couldn't get anything, he's got more now. They tried to fucking kill him. You think that's not more? I'm really struggling with this, guys. Really struggling with this one. Because in the world that we live in, you've got to pick a side. You can't be a fence sitter. What if the Overton window has shifted my side so far left that I don't recognize it anymore? You know, people say, oh, I didn't leave the left left me. Yeah, well, the right fucking left me. Like a long fucking time ago, like probably before I was born, sadly. I don't like it when people are gambling with my money, and I don't like it when people are gambling with my friend's money. It's not your money to gamble with. Trump wants to go and gamble with his own companies. He can. And the fact that, like I said, 4% this year, tariffs have made 4%. 4. And anybody who thought for a second, do you guys know when the federal government was funded entirely from tariffs? Entirely from tariffs? Yeah, it was prior to 1913. And actually prior to 1908. There was a precursor bill to the Federal Reserve Act. I forget the name. It's something A something. I forget what it was called. But it was the centralization of the banks after the scare of 1907, right? Because the stock market started to crash. I think the stock market, which is legalized gambling, always fucking has been. Okay? You are gambling on companies. That's what you're doing. Stock market hits a panic in 1907. They pass this bill. God, I forget what it's called. Championed, by the way, by Teddy Roosevelt. The centralization of the banks were championed by Teddy Roosevelt. Wilson gets into power, right? He gets elected. Woodrow Wilson, one of the worst president of our history, probably, comes into power. He gets elected in 1913. They pass the 16th Amendment to the Constitution. By the way, did you know that Teddy Roosevelt was a strong proponent of the 16th Amendment to the Constitution? Do you know that in the way that the language of the 16th Amendment to the Constitution is written, it lacks specificity on two major things? One, it says the federal government can tax you. It can tax income. Lacks specificity on what income is. It uses that as a broad fucking term. Every time a dollar is transferred, the transaction between two people becomes a menage a trois. And guess what? It ain't the government that's getting fucked in that one. Oh, and by the way, because it's enshrined in our Constitution now that the federal government has a right to tax you, you have no right not to pay that tax. So every time a dollar is received, because it's income, it gets taxed. Why do you think in that little bubble graph I showed you earlier, it was income, Social Security, and Medicaid? And then at the end of 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. Shortly after that, we started fractional reserve banking, stipulating that loans can be given out on lines of credit because the banks do not have to have reserves for their loans they're giving out. It's fractional reserve. You only have to have a fraction of what the bank's holdings are. And so you can give out more money than you actually have and create lines of credit. This is actually how it works. And lines of credit are what actually go in. And then as the lines of credits are created, all they do is they increase the money reserves. They treat it like it's real money because they don't have the money sitting there and they go, we're going to give you this money. You're going to give it to us back plus a little interest. No, they go, we don't have the money. Let's create it real quick. Okay, cool. Now we've doubled it. Now you get money and you've got to pay it back. And then on top of that, what it did is it stripped the individual markets throughout the US the ability to adjust their interest rates as they needed. And so what happens is as markets start to fluctuate and fall, you have one centralized place going, nope, it's not bad enough yet. Boy, howdy, we don't want to increase interest rates because if we do that, then people are going to stop taking money from us. And it stretches and expands. And guess what? We had a panic in 1907. We had a full-on fucking crash in 1929. That left people destitute. And it wasn't until the war machine got fired up in the 1940s we got out of the Great Depression. And because Europe was so completely and totally destroyed after the war, guess who they could buy from? Us. And we had a crash again in the 70s. The 80s were not good. They talk about Reaganomics. Reagan's a different sort. But you know what? You know why we saw high-ass interest rates in the 80s? Like extremely high interest rates in the 80s? And then they started to cut spending as well? It's because all of that money got paid back and they could eliminate the lines of credit, shrinking the money supply, which revaluated our dollar. Why the fuck aren't we doing that now? Instead, we're talking about stimulus packages. Did you guys know any of that? Do you know how fractional reserve banking works? Do you know how the Fed works? Do you know how interest rates works before it was all centralized to the Fed? Actually, in that one fucking bill that I cannot remember the name of off the top of my head because I'm terrible at remembering names, that was passed in 1908. Did you guys know that? We haven't had a capitalistic system, which is, I have money, you have stuff, I give you the money for the stuff. That's it. It's our transaction. Nobody else gets to fuck with it. You get to decide what you want to sell me stuffs for. I get to decide what I want to give you my monies for. That doesn't exist anymore. There are so many different hands involved in the transaction that I want to do with you. Before we even make the decision to do that, we don't have capitalism anymore. We haven't had capitalism in a long time. I don't even know if I would call it artificial capitalism. And we are dangerously close to going back into some sort of feudalist system. Businesses are being told how to conduct business by the government itself. AI is coming in and removing the ability for men to contribute a hard day's work. We are abdicating work to machines. We've been doing it for a long time, but there's an argument to be made between tools that were designed to help productivity and tools that are designed to replace man-made work hours. People tell me all the time, I'm very black-pilled on a lot of this. No, I'm not black-pilled. I believe in Christ. I believe in the promises of God. To be black-pilled would be to say that God has abandoned us. I do not believe that, but I do believe that hard times are coming. I believe it's going to get harder and harder for us to provide for our families. It's commanded in the Bible that men need to provide for our families. What happens when the economy is such a way you can't? You're just told by the government, you're going to take your pittance. You're going to take your money. And the government says, we no longer have an economy that needs humans to sweat, to work, to function. How do we work for our families? How do we provide for our families as is commanded in the Bible? How do we do it? I know there is a way because God will be with us. And I probably shouldn't be trying to figure out the future because God already knows what the future holds. But damn it, it's hard not to think about. It's hard not to have these conversations. It's hard not to wonder if you voted for a monster. It's hard not to wonder, how am I supposed to do the things that I need to do? And I am reconnecting more and more with my faith. I kept God out here for a long time, and now I'm bringing him back closer here, and that is a folly of mine. That's a mistake that I made. I've never lied to you guys about my belief in God. But the one thing that I didn't do is I didn't follow through with a lot in my day-to-day life. I didn't pray as much as I should have. I didn't go to church as much as I should have. Didn't teach it to my kids the way that I should have. But something changed in me, and I think for the better. So no, I'm not blackpilled, but I am asking a lot of questions. Where are we headed? What does this look like? What world are my children going to inherit? Those are questions that I have. If I don't survive the world coming up, can I at least survive long enough to make sure that the world that my children inherit is going to be good? It's going to be righteous. This has been weighing heavy on my heart, and it's hard to come to a pretty right-wing audience and say, hey guys, I'm going to be honest. I think the right wing, I think they're fucking leftists. I've had the conspiracy theory for a while now that I think Trump was a Trojan horse. We already know that he got up there on stage and flashed the pride flag for his, first presidential campaign. Yeah, he might disagree with a lot of the transgender ideology and the stuff with the kids and this, that, and the other thing. But the fact of the matter is he still got up there on stage and openly supported an ungodly movement in order to get votes. You're not the only one. I've been praying hard with similar questions, Maji-chan. Yeah, thank you. Caffeinated Wolf. Many government-level Republicans are just Dems with an R in front of their names. I believed that for a long time. Look at what happened in 2014. Look at what happened in 2014, dude. We got sold up the fucking river on that one. I think that's where I really started to distrust the Republican Party. But again, all of these questions that I have, I don't think any of them are unfounded. And maybe it's like, well, but are they doing, but did they do more good? Did they do more good than they're doing bad? I don't believe so. Not based off of the devaluation of our currency, right? Not based off of the absolute transfer of wealth that happened during the pandemic. They shut down families and homes. And keep in mind, Trump agreed with that for a little while. They shut all of this stuff down. Stock market did great during that time. Stock market did great. But Main Street suffered and died. And so, as somebody who voted for this guy 3 times, I look at him and I go, Trump, President Trump, I don't care how Wall Street's doing. I want Main Street to be doing. Because he's doing a lot of the same policies that Obama did. A lot of the same policies. Remember when Trump originally said he was going to repeal Obamacare? And then it was repeal and replace because his poll numbers went down again. Why is it every fucking time his poll numbers goes down, he adds in leftist language, leftist ideology to his campaign, and his poll numbers go back up? That does not scream to me a man of principle. so many thoughts that I have and so many things that I think about. And I don't think that I'm unfounded. It's so wild to me. And to see so many people, a lot of people that I even respect, they're still championing Trump. And I'm like, guys, are you maybe, and it could be that their states have different economic circumstances and they're not seeing the change in their states, or maybe the states that they live in were already in rough spots, right? Like I do still understand that we do have different state economies that run differently, but I'm seeing a change here where I live. I'm noticing the change in my household, my family, and it's not getting better. You make the same amount of money. Shit, here's the funny part. I got a raise last year. I got a decent raise last year. Like my company, and it was worse this year. After I got a raise, it became worse. And my wife had to then pick up more hours and more time. Please explain that to me. This was after the election happened. Please explain this to me. Mario Trujillo says the right wing has failed since the 60s, and a lot of the so-called conservatives freely let the progressives run wild, if not outright help them. Yeah, I don't think I can disagree with you. I wish I could, but I can't. You know, and people say, well, what about DeSantis? No, DeSantis seems like a snake to me too. I don't know. Supposedly he did good down in Florida. But it's like how how do you want to vote anymore? And I think, and I keep being told that we're winning. I keep being told we're winning. How? President Trump just offered a stimulus package and is saying that they're going to do a stimulus package to the American people. The same, different circumstances, but the same that Obama did. And then was championing the fact that we added $1.8 trillion to our deficit. He says that we made so much money from the tariffs. The tariffs are doing so fucking... You saw the fucking chart from the U.S. Treasury. Let's look at it again. The fucking U.S. Treasury. Customs duties, excise taxes, the small ones up there. We're making so much money. Really? Because still looks like 50% is being made over here. Well, revenue increased. You know, same time last year, we were $1 trillion lower. Yeah, we made a little bit more money this year. But you're telling me that 4% of what we've been, 4% of our nation's GDP is enough to start a stimulus package? I'll tell you what. When we are no longer $38 trillion in the hole and we are instead $38 trillion in the positive, we have that money. Because if we already have that money, if you vote on real morality and virtue, you'll always have an empty ballot. See, and that's what sucks too. Oh, God, real lethal. I both appreciate and hate your comments. And that's what sucks, man. Because it's like I have to live my life to the best of my morality. And obviously that's going to change. Some days I'm going to have better morality than others, right? That's the human experience. That's the human condition. But we always have this end goal that we want to strive for. right? And it's like, well, I'd like to believe that the people that I'm voting on have that same end goal, and I don't think they do. I don't think they have the same end goal. I think their end goal is so wildly different than mine. It's in the opposite direction of mine, and I don't want to do that. Those same conservatives mock anyone on our side who wanted to go into the arts and white-collar jobs. The same people demand loyalty and laugh when you ask for your reward. Have I explained my point well enough? Have I articulated enough? And here's the thing: is I'm not even saying I'm right. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe the economy gets wildly better. All of a sudden, the debt gets paid off. All this stuff. I'm not seeing it happening. Right? I'm seeing too many compromises. Right? I'm seeing I'm seeing more news stories about our president care about foreign nations and their fucking wars. How many times have I, well, Trump wants to be known as the peace president. Can Trump want to be known as the fucking American president? That'd be cool. Because you wouldn't want to know my foreign policy. My foreign policy would be bad. Right? They'd be like, well, how would you deal with the Ukraine crisis and the Israel crisis and all that? I would say you leave America the fuck alone. And if you really want us to intervene, we can do it. We can do it with a couple of fucking suns. Ask Japan how that worked out. My buddy is like, dude, that's a genocide. I said, no, it's not a genocide. I said, a genocide is eliminating one group of people, from a specific, ethnic or religious group or political group or whatever. I was like, my plan eliminates a lot of people from a whole bunch of different groups. Because I don't fucking care. I voted for the president of the United States of America, not the president of every fucking foreign war so he can get his Nobel Peace Prize. That's really starting to piss me off. But then again, I used to be an American isolationist. Like I used to very much believe in isolationism. I also realize it's not viable in today's world. But God bless it, I almost wish we could go back to it. I just worry about the next Carrington effect the sun will nail us with and send the planet back into the Stone Age. That's a big thing, too. AI is going to take over humanity. But actually, honestly, if AI takes over humanity, I really kind of hope that we have a polar shift. Because that will cause a lot of people are going to die, but AI is going to kill us all anyway. So, we have a polar shift. It completely wipes out all of the electronics on the planet, because when a polar shift happens, it's fucking wild what happens. And then, we start over. Boy, that's really bad that's my wishful thinking. I don't know. Maybe I am fucking black. I don't think I am. I don't, because I see so much faith and hope in my family and my children and my life. But I just don't see faith and hope in the people that I even voted for. I hope that and here's the thing is, because we got into it in the Discord and they were told me that, Royce, you're blackpilled. Oh my gosh. And you're wrong about this and you're wrong about that. And, I could be being fooled. I could be being fooled by left-wing narratives. Okay. Do your research on the subject matter. Well, I don't have time. That's bullshit. Make time. Make time. I'm asking you to make time because if I'm wrong, I need to be proven wrong. I need to be told that from people who are on my side of the aisle, who can provide me with overwhelming evidence of my fears and frustrations and the trepidations that I have, and that they're unfounded. And all I get told is, I'm not going to dedicate the time. I've been told that from my own mother. My mom's like, well, I don't have time to look into all this. Mom, you're the one who fucking told me to do this. People in my Discord, well, I don't have time to look into all this. Then why the fuck are you telling me I'm wrong when you're not even willing to grant the time to tell me that I'm wrong? I have a lot of frustrations because, again, everybody's more than willing to go out and dunk on a Dem and tell the Dems how wrong they are. Blech. But when someone like me who comes out and is like, guys, you know where I stand on a lot of this, and I'm seeing something. Well, Royce, you're just being tricked by the libs. Am I? Then fucking prove it to me, please. I get a lot of people in here tonight agreeing with a lot of the shit that I'm saying. And when you take the hour and I was going to talk a lot more about stuff. When you take the hour and 15 minutes of time that I've gone through here of the things that I don't like, the things that Trump has done that mirror other presidents that I was told were Marxists and were socialists and were trying to destroy this country. And I see similar things happening, not completely the same, by the way, but similar things happening. What am I supposed to believe? Don't believe your lying eyes? Is that what you're telling me? Don't believe the fact that what I was able to purchase just a year ago, I can't purchase now? And then on top of that, I'm being told that we're going to fucking increase the fucking debt so we can hand out some more fucking stimmy checks, man. We're going to hand out them stimmy checks once again. It was the left who told me take care of yourself first. I had a lot of issue with the right, but they were the ones who first asked me to question my own side. I mean, and that is a good thing. I'm not condemning everything that the man is doing as evil or wrong. I am specifically talking about the things that I take issue with. Notice, I've not said everything he's done is wrong. No. I've specifically cited the things tonight that I have issues with, that I have had issues with. Okay? If I didn't mention it tonight, maybe I forgot a few things. I don't know. Probably, actually, no, I did. I actually guarantee I forgot a few things because there were some things I was trying to remember. But again, I'm citing very specific issues, not all of the things, but the ones that I think outweigh the potential good that may be done or is being done, if there is any. Both R's and D's are dumber than the dirt they walk on, and they only wish to enrich themselves. I mean, yeah, I've heard from a lot of people who've met politicians. They're like, you would be surprised how stupid most of these people are. Who was that one that asked if the island was going to tip over when Guam? I think Razorfist had a point by saying that it's a uniparty instead of a two-party system. It is a uniparty. And I was actually watching Razorfist today. I really still like a lot of his takes. I think Razorfist would even look at me and probably say, well, a drink with crazy, you're blackpilled. But I still respect the fuck out of Razorfist. I know, again, people thought he and I had a thing on Twitter, which it was 2 comments and he unfollowed me, but that I was watching him today. I watched Eric July's live stream today. I haven't watched an Eric July live stream in a long time, but Eric July was mentioning a lot of the sentiments that I was thinking about and feeling. And I'm like, okay, I'm not insane. I'm not crazy. Right? It's why I watch Eric July, especially when he gets on the political stuff. It's why I watch him, because I agree with him a vast majority of the time. And here's the thing. He didn't vote for Trump. He don't like Trump. I did vote for Trump. But it's why I've said for a long time, guys, I think Trump's the only Democrat that could get Republicans to vote for him. Why do you think? I mean, and then you look at the number of people who supported Bernie Sanders went and voted for Trump too. That's weird. Maji Chan, well, you are crazy, but not about this. Fuck. Oh, God. I hate being a pessimist and Blackpill because it seems like the most addictive problem we have when it comes to so many bad things happening beyond our control. And like I said, that's why I said I'm not Blackpilled. God obviously has a plan here, and that plan is so much bigger than us. But as a person, it does make it hard to see, you know. But then again, it is also prophesized that hard times are going to come. And it is also said that hard times will always happen, right? I remember the right being the trust me bro side because they were the God-fearing Christians. I don't think a lot of them are, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know, but God bless it, man. If you tell somebody that if you tell somebody that you're a Christian, oh my God, you can farm so much support online. That's terrifying too. People are just, oh yeah. Like, it's bad. It's real bad. Cerubason, I had to wrestle with my conscience, telling me maybe God has a plan behind Biden's hell-porn administration, and that's why I adopted the God first, America second mindset. Absolutely. Well, it should always be. It should be. It should be God, family, and then country. Right? It should be God first, family second, country third. Those are the big three. Right? God, family, country, and that in that order. We do have a duty to our country, which is why it's so funny that they want to abolish borders, because then there is no country. And I think that so many people, every night I just thank God for today and just place tomorrow in his hands, whether I awaken to it or not, or he calls me home. Yeah. One nation under God. No way in Washington, if you're a Christian against the message, you are evil. See, and that's the thing. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and that's a big part of it too. Is there's such division in the country right now, and it's like you have to pick a team, and it's like, okay, but what if the team that I picked isn't just either? What if the team that I picked has different but just as many flaws as the other team? Like, there's no team that I agree with, and it's like, and the things that are being done, it's like how do you navigate this? How do you go about? Like, again, I say, like, I'm done with federal elections. I'm not doing this anymore. I've been paying attention to this stuff since I was 16 years old. Mario Trujillo, I think, found it. He found the date when I was talking with Blanley Pardo. And I keep getting told all the time, it's like, oh, well, we're Royce. But no. It's Trump's just getting blocked by the Dems and it's all these other Republicans. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about that stuff. I am talking about the things that he's championing, the things that he says that he wants to do, and the things that he is putting his name on personally. I'm not talking about all this other stuff. And I think I laid out a list of things this evening that you can all remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers all of the things where I'm like, these are things he championed. These are things we were taught was wrong with the Obama administration. Why are we doing this? Why are we getting socialism light with this guy? So Teddy Cruz is Dem ball liquor too. It can't surprise me since he's not someone like Rand Paul, going up against the message, like how Paul combated the vaccine mandate. Rand, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been a Rand Paul fan for a very long time. There are very few things I think I have disagreed with him on. Very few things. But the fact of the matter is, nobody in the country is interested in listening to him being like, hey, he actually put up his own spending bill and was like, hey, I can figure out how to balance the budget for us. And like, nobody cared. Nobody even wanted to vote on it because they could not use the fiat currency and devalue our dollar more. They get paid a shit ton of money every time they do this. Every time they fucking do this. Well, the Bible's always said there has to be great divisions amongst all the people as well. I'm going to have to look that up which I don't remember that. But I don't remember my own name half the time. So yeah, I can't really say that, everyone is too stuck in their ways and corrupt to listen to Rand. I do like it. He's not as good as his dad was. He's better than a lot of every other people. A lot of other people. They also tried to demonize Mike Lee too. I think Rand Paul and Mike Lee, those are like the two off the top of my head that I'm like, oh, those are like the two politicians I can name off the top of my head that I think are actually good. Maybe Brandon Herrera gets in and, he fights for some people too, but we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get changed. But so for those of you who I have been combative with in the Discord, I hope that I have laid out my thoughts and my feelings and my case as to why I am as combative on some of this stuff that I am. It's not, and because it could be an easy accusation to say that I have switched sides and now I'm fighting for no. I think it's easier to say that we know the Overton window has shifted. And I don't think that I have. I think the right is further to the left of me. In fact, I would say that I think modern right-wing and Republican politicians are where Obama was. And there's no party over here. There's no party over here that I fit into. So I hope for those of you who I do get combative with on these subjects and show you a lot of the evidence that I'm seeing, and I try to look for evidence to the contrary, I hope that you understand why I am where I am after tonight's show. And please, I would ask everybody out there, share this with people that have chilled on the channel before. Be like, hey, Royce had some shit to say tonight. This is a very serious. How often do you guys see me like this when I'm not ranting and raging, but when I'm actually talking, just talking, venting with my community? I haven't done one of these in a while. But I really do hope when you guys see me in the Discord and you see some of the things that I'm saying and you see some of the things that I'm trying to figure out a way out, trying to figure out why it is this way. I hope you can understand now why I say the things that I say, because people aren't coming back with counter information to me and showing it. They just keep telling me, I don't have the time, I don't have the time, I don't have the time. Well, I mean, fuck, if you were arguing against a Dem on Twitter, I know you would make the time. So please pay me that same respect. Make the time for me, because maybe I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, I want to be proven wrong beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I am one man, I am one intellect, and I am a limited intellect. And unless that is challenged, what else am I supposed to believe? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go upstairs, chill for a few, and then I'm going to say the nightly prayers with my children. And I hope that you guys say your nightly prayers as well. And thank you for listening. God bless, Mario. God bless, Tianda. It's good to have you here, man. You gotta check the Facebook messages that you sent. I meant to check them today and my phone was out of service. God bless. Have a good night, Manji-chan. Tonight was a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. Is it? I don't know. I actually don't know about that. I say that, but I don't know. That must have been because I was a lot more somber Usually when it's a less heavy topic, I don't. I yell and scream. I don't know. I think I'm growing out of that too. The yelling, screaming rants. I mean, you're already challenged, but that's different. Oh, shut up, Captain. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. And I will see you guys on Thursday night. I got a cool guest and a cool new project, and you guys should be there. Until next time, cheers, everybody.